This video was made in collaboration with NARUTOPEDIA. For more information, check out the link in the description. The Life of Chocho Akimichi from Naruto. Chocho Akimichi is a kunoichi and a member of Konohagakure's Akimichi clan. Together with her teammates Inojin Yamanaka and Shikadai Nara, she forms the 17th generation of the Ino-Shika-Cho trio. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Chocho Akimichi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Background: Cho-Cho is the only child of Karui and Choji Akimichi. As her parents continued to stay close to their childhood friends over the years, Cho-Cho ultimately came to know the various parents' respective kids as well. In the anime, when she was younger, Cho-Cho had a very high fever. Her parents worked earnestly to get a special medicine for her, which caused Choji to trim down so much that Cho-Cho didn't recognize him, making her have lingering doubts about her parentage. On the day of the 7th Hokage's inauguration, Cho-Cho attended the ceremony with her parents, where she ran into Sarada Uchiha Academy entrance arc. In the anime, 2 weeks into the academy, Cho-Cho was left amazed at how reckless Boruto Uzumaki was compared to his father, and asked Sarada whether she knows him. Later, she joined the rest of the class to watch the fight between Boruto and Iwabi Yuino, after which Cho-Cho teased Sumire when she expressed her happiness with how Boruto was able to get along with his classmates. During a class introducing students to summoning techniques, Boruto and Sarada got into another argument, which sparked an argument between all the boys and girls. During lunch break, Cho-Cho bought nearly all the yakisoba buns, which sparked another fight between Sarada and Boruto over the last one. Shino appeared, insisting that the boys and girls settle things with a race challenge for a flag. The challenge quickly got heated, leading to a desperate Boruto using a summoning scroll and miraculously summoning a snake-like creature. The creature went on a rampage, attacking the students and launching Cho-Cho off the roof, to which Boruto managed to save her with the help of some other students. After the creature was subdued by the timely arrival of Konohamaru, the contest ended with the girls getting the flag. Despite their victory, the girls made peace with the boys. Later, the class gained a new transfer student from Otogakure named Mitsuki. Wanting the students to warm up to him, Shino organized a welcoming party. Cho-Cho quickly began digging into the food. When Shino's efforts for the party backfired with his insects, the class began to freak out, with Denki begging someone to make the insects go away, which Mitsuki did with his wind release breakthrough, causing even more damage to the academy. When one of the repairmen went berserk and started to destroy the academy, while her classmates went into action, Cho-Cho decided to stay behind and guard the potato chips. Later, Sumire realizes that she's being stalked. Eventually, Cho-Cho and her friends discover that it's Magire Kakoremino, a shy student from a different class. When Cho-Cho assumed that he was interested in her, Magire quickly denied it and accidentally admitted his feelings towards Sumire. Cho-Cho insisted that he be more forward with his feelings. When Magire meekly asks her out, Sumire turned him down, leaving him distraught and running away in shame. The following day, various creepy messages are left for Sumire. While Cho-Cho and the others decide to watch over her, they are systematically separated from Sumire. Eventually, the perpetrator is revealed to be a possessed Magire, who kidnaps Sumire. Cho-Cho and the others soon find them, where Magire quickly attacked them with his concealment skills. Eventually, Cho-Cho was able to reach Magire, noting that such an indecisive nature will never win anyone over. Accepting his poor methods of trying to make Sumire like him, the specter was rejected from Magire. As Magire began to apologize for his actions, he fainted, resulting from severe chakra drain caused by his possession. The group then quickly take him to the hospital. Later, the class was assigned by Shino to split into groups of 3 and each tail a different workplace for a few days to better understand non-shinobi life. Cho-Cho convinced Sarada to check out both the nail salon and the pastry factory. The following day, Cho-Cho angrily went to the post office, noting that her special order of a limited edition potato chip was supposed to arrive the day before. It was soon deduced that Boruto's sloppy delivery of the mail was behind this. Later, Cho-Cho checked in on some of her friends after learning that they were hospitalized from a recent attack. Afterwards, she was recruited by Shikadai to go after the culprit. She and her friends then met up at the post office to discuss their plan. After splitting up to patrol the village, the culprit of the attacks unleashed their shadow specter on the post chief, Komame. Cho-Cho's group, however, quickly appeared, having anticipated this move as all their recent efforts were clearly being spied on. While half of the team stayed to save the possessed Komame, Cho-Cho's half pursued the masked culprit. While the post chief was saved, the Spectre and the culprit ultimately got away. Several weeks later, Shino decided to change up the three-man teams for their next challenge to determine the optimum pairings for graduation. Cho-Cho decided to team up with Inojin and Shikadai. When Iwabi noted that they were essentially forming the Ino-Shika-Cho trio like their respective parents, the team admitted that their techniques were naturally compatible. Cho-Cho also noted that good teams don't need to be friends, only work well together. During their challenge to capture a flag, Shikadai took advantage of Lee's social anxiety, noting how everyone was watching him. While Lee froze up, Cho-Cho quickly knocked him out. Shino was then called aside concerning Sumire. As the class began discussing rumors that Sumire was being transferred to a different school, they were relieved to see her return to their class. Cho-Cho met Sarada while she was looking for a lost parcel in the train and helped her retrieve it, eventually finding it in a river. Sarada Uchiha Arc. Upon hearing that her class would be going through the graduation exam in a week, Cho-Cho was only interested if it could help her lose some weight. Later, she meets up with Choji, who embarrassed Cho-Cho simply because his choice of flavored chips to walk around with. In a restaurant, Cho-Cho complained that her father's excessive eating is making it difficult for her to control her own eating habits when she's trying to lose weight, only to be further annoyed with her mother's hands-off policy on the matter. Cho-Cho told Sarada that she believes that she's adopted due to how different she found herself to her parents, much to Sarada's humor as she was actually suffering from a possible discrepancy in her own parentage. Mitsuki simply told her that drama of this type is typical of a girl her age, but Cho-Cho ignored him and invited Sarada on a road trip to find her real parents. Later, when Sarada began to trail Naruto, Cho-Cho followed her, believing that they're embarking on a journey to discover her real parents, and even assumed that her real father might be good looking. As she learned that Sarada was looking for her own father as well and was going to follow the 7th Hokage to do so, Boruto soon appeared with a lunch prepared by his mother for Naruto. As Naruto had already left the village, Sarada decided to use this as an excuse to meet up with Naruto and asked Boruto to let her deliver it. After it was agreed that Cho-Cho and Sarada would bring the lunch, the two quickly took off. Soon afterwards, they were ambushed by Shin. While Cho-Cho and Sarada were quickly overwhelmed, the two were soon saved by Naruto's timely arrival. After a quick display of the 7th Hokage's might, Shin retreated and Cho-Cho was left in awe, hoping that maybe Naruto was her real father, much to Naruto's confusion. Deciding it would be safest to keep the two kunoichi with him, Naruto decided to let them join him on meeting with Sasuke Uchiha. Before setting out, Sarada gave him his lunch she promised to deliver, and the three shared some bento. Soon afterwards, Sarada went ahead under the guise of using the restroom while Naruto stayed to watch Cho-Cho catch her breath. Upon catching up with Sarada, they found her in the company of her estranged father, Sasuke, who Cho-Cho thought might be her real father simply because he was handsome. She then offered Sasuke her bag of chips to try to make up with his daughter. Later, Cho-Cho joined everyone in the search for Shin. When Sasuke activated his Rinnegan and prepared to take everyone with him in his Susanoo, Cho-Cho again admired Sasuke's abilities. In the new dimension, they ultimately found Sakura Uchiha engaged in battle with Shin. As Sasuke subdued Shin with Susanoo and checked on his wife's condition, Cho-Cho complained about Sasuke being Sarada's father and not hers. Cho-Cho then overlooked the battle against thousands of Shin clones. After the Shin clones were defeated, Cho-Cho approached Sarada, voicing her amazement at her friend's strength and noted with surprise that Sarada's eyes had become similar to her father's. On their way back to the village, Cho-Cho expressed her annoyance at being unable to find her real father but finding Sarada's instead. However, as they approached the village gates, Cho-Cho approached a man whom she felt familiar and might be her real father. She was shocked to find out that it was actually Choji, who had just got back from a mission with Ino Yamanaka. She then began questioning her father on how he had suddenly lost so much weight, and asked if it was some sort of secret technique passed down through the clan. Now, in awe of her father's weight loss, Cho-Cho demanded that he begin training her the next day. Naruto Shinden, Parent and Child Day. During the new Konohagakure holiday, Parent and Child Day, Karui was annoyed at how both lazy Choji was being and that he ate all the sweets she specifically bought for the family to eat together, ultimately kicking him out of the house to think about his actions. As Cho-Cho's casual comments made Choji begin fearing that he made Karui so mad that she would leave him, his daughter insisted that he must have some redeemable traits for Karui to have put up with him for so long. Convinced that it was his reputation as a competitive eating champion, he entered a food competition in the naive hope of impressing Karui. As he and Cho-Cho entered together, they were unknowingly being sabotaged by the promoters of the competition. As Boruto realized what was going on and helped even the playing field, one of the promoters used a technique to make the dumplings grow to immense sizes. As Choji and Cho-Cho struggled to stop the growing dumplings, Karui joined her family in fighting them off to no avail. Ultimately, Choji enlarged himself to eat all the dumplings and apologized for eating all the sweets before, realizing that food should be shared with family. At the end of Parent and Child Day, Cho-Cho and her family enjoy sharing a meal together. School Trip Arc. In the anime, to improve relationships with other villages and symbolically show that the warring era was over, the 7th Hokage set up an official class trip for the academy to go to Kirigakure. Upon arriving, they were met with Kagura Karatachi, who was appointed to act as the class's tour guide. The class was later taken to meet Chojuro, the 6th Mizukage, who welcomed the class to the village. Cho-Cho arrives late, having bought numerous souvenirs. Graduation Exams Arc. In the anime, taking up Shino's subtle offer to try stealing the test answers for the written portion of the Genin exams, Inojin and his friends were able to pass the test. The next day, the students were set against academy teachers and Kakashi Hatake during the 24-hour practical portion of the exams. While the teachers would still evaluate the students' respective improvements, their true test was against the Hokage. As the test began, the Ino Shikacho trio fought Anko Mitarashi alongside other students, which resulted in them all being defeated and captured. During the night, her classmates rescued the restrained students after they defeated Anko. Strategizing, all the students transformed into copies of Boruto and attacked Kakashi, during which they got into position to restrain him so Boruto could grab his bell. During their struggle, the exam reached its time limit. Despite not getting the bell, Kakashi chose to pass everyone as they succeeded in the test's true goal: teamwork and loyalty. Having become a genin, the Ino Shikacho trio was placed on Team 10 under Moegi Kazamatsuri's leadership. Genin Mission Arc. In the anime, the 7th Hokage personally assigned Team 10 their first mission, which involved chauffeuring around a client. During the mission, she walked around Konoha while chatting with the client. Byakuya Gang Arc. In the anime, with the continued thefts performed by the Byakuya Gang throughout Konoha, Team 10 was assigned alongside other genin teams to help stop the thieves. However, they weren't permitted to engage the gang without aid from a higher-ranked shinobi. When protesters began accusing the Kaminariman Company of corrupt practices, Team 10 was tasked with being stationed at a key point during the protest. When Shikadai ran off during their assignment, Cho-Cho and Inojin followed him, during which they're joined by Boruto and told that he believed the Ninjutsu Research Center was being targeted by the Byakuya Gang. Arriving at the institute, the genin discovered that it was robbed, and given a way to track the thieves by Katasuke Tono. Catching up with the gang, Cho-Cho and Inojin faced a majority of the group while Shikadai and Boruto chased after Gekko and Ryogi. Defeating all but one of the thieves, Shikamaru Nara arrived and defeated the final member. Acknowledging that it was an urgent situation, Shikamaru let the pair off the hook for engaging in battle, much to their relief. Versus Momoshiki Arc. While shopping with her father, Cho-Cho was irritated to find that all the food on the shelves had been bought by Naruto's shadow clones. Later, Cho-Cho enters the Chunin exams alongside Inojin and Shikadai. The first round is a true or false quiz which turned out to be a sham, as both answers were incorrect and every team was dropped into an ink pit. Shikadai, however, was able to use his shadow to prevent him and his teammates from falling into it, passing the first round. In the second round, the genin had to capture an enemy team's flag. While Cho-Cho went to retrieve one, Shikadai and Inojin guarded their respective flag. She successfully captures a flag, securing victory for her team. During the third round, however, Cho-Cho is defeated by Shinki. Later, Cho-Cho happily watched the finals alongside her friends, which was a three-way battle between Sarada, Boruto, and Shinki. She and her teammates cheered for Boruto when he managed to defeat Shinki to win the tournament, but were very distraught when learning that he was cheating using an advanced ninja tool, the Kote, which was deemed banned from the Chunin exams, and thus was disqualified. When Momoshiki and Kinshiki Otsutsuki appeared and began devastating the arena, Cho-Cho used her expansion techniques to help evacuate civilians. Chōchō Arc. In the anime, as Choji began teaching Cho-Cho more of their clan's advanced techniques, including the maxed-out calorie control skill, Cho-Cho showed more interest in watching a popular TV drama, particularly its lead actors Tomaru and Ashina. Determined to find love, Cho-Cho committed herself to maintaining her butterfly mode due to its slimmer appearance, despite the fact that her limited control of this state actually diminished strength. When the two lead actors of her favorite show received a death threat if they continued filming, Team 10 was assigned to protect the actors alongside Team 7. Cho-Cho and her team were assigned to watch Tomaru, much to her delight. Cho-Cho decided to put on a considerate but indifferent demeanor to get Tomaru to like her, which seemed to work. When the stage was attacked by a masked Ame-nin, the two Konoha teams defended the cast. While they initially pinned down the assailant, Cho-Cho moved in to finish him with her partial multi-size technique, but at the last minute returned to her slim form, not wanting Tomaru to see her naturally plump form. This reduced performance and let the assailant escape. Afterwards, one of the actors was injured. Tomaru suggested that Cho-Cho take the actor's place for the scene, much to Cho-Cho's bliss, seeing this as her chance for love. As Tomaru's kindness towards Cho-Cho continued to sway her, he ultimately had her try on a prop dress to rehearse a scene together. After Mitsuki interrupted a kiss scene, she began lashing out at him for ruining her moment of love. Her relentless anger ultimately made her change back to her normal plump self, ruining the dress. When Tomaru appeared again, not recognizing Cho-Cho, he revealed to be a very vain and shameless man, only interested in the beauty of Cho-Cho's butterfly mode. Even more, he mocked Cho-Cho's plumpness. Despite this crushing Cho-Cho's feelings, she chose not to reveal the truth of who she was, and instead focused on finishing the mission. Later, a masked attacker managed to capture Tomaru while Cho-Cho went to get water for Ashina. A ransom was left that demanded 20 million ryo, and for Ashina to be the one to deliver it. As Cho-Cho's friends continued telling her to stop focusing on how she looks, as her continued usage of butterfly mode was weakening her, Cho-Cho ignored their request. Ultimately, Mitsuki talked to her through her love of potato chips, noting that what matters is not the outside appearance, but the quality. During the exchange, as Konohamaru already captured the attacker and disguised himself as the Ame-nin, Ashina was revealed to be the mastermind behind the assaults, as she desperately wanted to rekindle her fame as an actress. In a last blind effort to keep her fame by burying the truth, she attempted to blow up the area. While Konohamaru stopped her from using them, the explosive tags went off, causing a landslide. As Tomaru was in danger of being crushed, Cho-Cho dropped her butterfly mode and saved him. Afterwards, amazed by Cho-Cho's heroic display, he came to appreciate Cho-Cho for her, regardless of how she looked. While he offered to let her stay on as a regular for the show, she politely declined, wanting to live a life as the real her. Mitsuki's Disappearance Arc. In the anime, after Mitsuki's apparent betrayal of Konohagakure, the village was put on lockdown. Despite this, Boruto and Sarada decided to sneak out to find Mitsuki. Team 10 was assigned to find and bring back the two Genin. The following day, they managed to intercept them. As the two refused to come back peacefully, they created a distraction and then attempted a decoy with Boruto's shadow clones. This succeeded in splitting up Team Moegi between the Jonin and her students. Sarada and Boruto were soon intercepted by their friends, who, through Shikadai's strategy, easily anticipated Sarada and Boruto's tactics to quickly subdue them. While ready to take them back, Shikadai noticed the snake. Once learning that a message was left on it from Mitsuki, Shikadai realized that the situation had too many inconsistencies to brand Mitsuki a traitor. Wanting to find answers, Shikadai convinced his teammates to help Boruto and Sarada. Eventually, they found themselves in a foggy canyon. As they began wandering about aimlessly, they found a large palace, assuming that it must be the Ryuchi Cave. Inside, they found to their surprise a very lavish setting and were greeted by a beautiful young woman. Saying that the White Snake Sage was expecting them, the woman invited them to a large feast. As the others began to enjoy themselves, the woman insisted that after they eat, they could ask the sage about Mitsuki. Boruto realized the woman was deceiving them as he never mentioned Mitsuki by name. The woman revealed herself to be a snake creature, and the palace and food were but illusions to test the guests. Applauding Boruto's fortitude, she explained that to see the sage, one must pass a series of tests. If they fail, the snake's servants may eat the guests. As only Boruto wished to speak with the sage, Cho-Cho and the others were separated from him and knocked out. Ultimately proving his resolve, Boruto passed the other tests. Once Cho-Cho and the others were reunited with Boruto, they met the White Snake Sage, surprised to see that she was a small and frail-looking reptilian woman. While surprised that someone would risk meeting her for something other than learning senjutsu, the sage insisted that she couldn't help give answers beyond mastery of it. Boruto refused to give up though, begging the sage to reconsider. Giving in to Boruto's stubbornness, the sage agreed to help analyze Mitsuki's snake, only if they first brought to her the reverse scale of the giant snake Garaga, who was located in the most dangerous part of the cave. Boruto and the group accepted. After presenting the reverse scale, still attached to Garaga, to the White Snake Sage, the sage revealed the secret thoughts inside Mitsuki's snake, revealing that Mitsuki feigned killing a guard to save his life. Still unclear why Mitsuki joined the attackers, but knowing where he went, they all headed to the Land of Earth. As the group began to approach the Land of Earth's border, Shikadai had Inojin and Cho-Cho return to the village to report their findings. Along the way, the two found a group of Jonin paralyzed in the field. They decided to investigate. Following this, Inojin and Cho-Cho turned back to help their friends. They arrived in time as they struggled against Kokuyo. The Ino Shika-Cho trio decided to hold off the artificial man while Boruto and Sarada went off ahead. Despite their perfect team formations, the enemy was able to repel all of them. Ultimately, the trio was forced to retreat. The trio soon after caught up to their friends, where they learned of Mitsuki's betrayal upon attacking Boruto and leaving with the enemies. As Boruto awoke, the group discussed whether to return to Konohagakure with their findings, or to push forward to find the truth about these new enemies that posed a threat to the peaceful times. Ultimately, it was agreed to go venture on to Iwagakure and retrieve Mitsuki. Boruto suggested that they seek out the help of Onoki. Upon arriving outside the village, it was decided that Inojin would stay outside with the Akuta as to not draw any attention. Inside, they were soon spotted by Akatsuchi. He decided to help the Genin as it might be related to Kurotsuchi's sudden disappearance. They confronted Onoki, who, once learning of their goal to find Mitsuki, turned dark and turned them away. The group was then surrounded by a bunch of Akuta that were being controlled by Ku, the leader of the conspiracy in Iwagakure, as well as Onoki's son, and working alongside the retired Tsuchikage, much to everyone's horror. As Onoki began explaining the nature of his plans and his genuine desire to protect people, realizing that with his secret out in the open, he would have to accelerate his plans before the other great shinobi countries learned. While Onoki told his son to gently take the prisoners away, Boruto and the others chose to resist, and a fight ensued. As the battle escalated, a massive column was knocked over towards Onoki. He was narrowly saved by Boruto and then retreated while carrying the elderly man. While Shikadai was captured by the Akuta, Cho-Cho and the others scattered to escape. She soon after regrouped at the cave with Inojin and Sarada, surprised to learn that Boruto hadn't returned yet. They decided to wait to see how things played out. Deciding that they'd waited long enough, the group decided to look for their friends. They instead found an injured Akatsuchi. They then noticed an explosion. Realizing that it could be their friends, Inojin was chosen to take Akatsuchi back to the cave, while Sarada and Cho-Cho went to investigate. The two kunoichi found Boruto battling Kako, whose immense physical prowess and dust release was overwhelming Boruto. Cho-Cho and Sarada helped in the battle, desperate to avoid his dust release. Ultimately, Sarada found a time limit in the foe's attacks and used it to counter. Kako pushed his body past his limit to continue attacking, which ultimately overtaxed him and died. Onoki, who was watching, was shocked to see how the artificial soldier attacked so recklessly and against his previous orders of not hurting the Genin. Boruto insisted that despite the elderly man's belief, the fabrications did indeed have free will. Inojin arrived and subdued Boruto as he was under Kirara's genjutsu. She then appeared with the Akuta and surrounded the Konoha Nin. The Genin were brought back with Akatsuchi to the village. Once arriving, they learned that all of Iwagakure was taken over by Ku as an extra measure to keep the outside world from learning of their plans. When contorting the second-in-command, he voiced his desire to transplant human hearts into the fabrications as it would sustain them. Onoki, however, refused on the grounds that it went against the purpose of his goal for saving lives. Deciding that Onoki was too sentimental to see the bigger picture, Ku usurped the third Tsuchikage. Before Ku could move forward with his plan, Shikadai appeared, using a diversion to help his friends escape. They were soon intercepted by Kokuyo. Cho-Cho and her teammates decided to face the foe while Boruto and Sarada moved on. Kokuyo's advanced physical prowess quickly adapted to the Ino Shika-Cho's previously shown attack patterns and forced them back. Using a plan from Shikadai, they were able to lead Kokuyo into a trap. While nearly working, the foe proved to be too strong, and moved in to finish Inojin. Instead, Inojin was saved by the efforts of the tiny Akuta he had befriended and named Akun. The creature's efforts let Cho-Cho land the final blow to finish their foe, but not before Akun was struck down. Ultimately, the fabrications were defeated, thanks to the personal sacrifice of the third Tsuchikage. While wanting to stay for the funeral, Naruto sent Cho-Cho and her friends back to Konoha, Konohamaru's love arc. In the anime, Cho-Cho joined Sarada and Boruto in seeing a romance movie, which Boruto mistook for being an action movie. Afterwards, Cho-Cho and Sarada were baffled at Boruto's ignorance in love. Later, after Konohamaru began developing feelings for the noblewoman Remon Yoimura, she and Sarada pointed out the truth of it to Boruto. One-Tail Escort Arc. In the anime, having some time off with Sarada, they decided to go on a gourmet tour together. Time Slip Arc. In the anime, deciding to get rid of old clothing that they no longer used, Choji and Cho-Cho decided to sell them at the flea market. To their dismay, no one was interested, oblivious to the fact that all their clothing was oversized. Later, Boruto and Sarada came by, hoping to find the Icha Icha books by Jiraiya in hopes of understanding his influence on Naruto. Concerned about such young kids reading such an adult book, Choji simply said that the books were romance novels, which enticed Cho-Cho to join her friends in searching for them. Choji, however, stopped them, saying they were too young to read the books. Later, Cho-Cho joined the other genin in testing out new surveillance equipment designed to follow their location. During the field test, Urashiki Otsutsuki was spotted in the area. Cho-Cho joined several other Konoha-nin in pursuing him. However, this turned out to be a diversion by the alien, who placed a genjutsu on them to let him sneak into the village. Sometime later, after Urashiki was finally defeated, Sumide's transfer from her genin team to the scientific ninja weapons team came through. Cho-Cho joined her friends in a farewell party for the former class rep. They also met Sumide's replacement for Team 15, Tsubaki Kurogane, a samurai student from the Land of Iron. Following a mission where Inojin failed to have the confidence to use his mind-body switch technique, Cho-Cho noticed his mellow demeanor and offered to help him in his training to master the technique. Inojin initially failed attempting to perform the technique on her, but with Cho-Cho's help, he finally succeeded on using it on his parents. As a thank you, Inojin treated Cho-Cho to a meal, only to perform the technique on her following encouragement from their friends. Mujina Bandits Arc. When Shikadai and his male friends began spending their mission earnings on collecting cards, Cho-Cho and Sarada found it ridiculous how the boys would waste their money. Kara Actuation Arc. In the anime, Cho-Cho was assigned with her team to join Team Shinki to search for Urashiki's remaining puppet in the Land of Wind. On the way to the mission, at Cho-Cho's insistence, the team decided to stop for a bit and eat, where they bumped into Deepa, who casually ignored them. Once inside the restaurant, they were horrified to see that everyone in it was slaughtered, wondering if Deepa was the one responsible. After reporting their finds to Sunagakure, Cho-Cho's team meets up with Shinki's team. While Shikadai was the highest ranking ninja of the group as a chunin, they decided to let Shinki lead the way, as he knew the area better. Upon discovering the puppet, they were encountered by Deepa, who demanded to be given the puppet. When they refused, he pelted them with a barrage of carbon cubes that even Shinki's iron sand wall couldn't completely block. Shikadai developed a strategy to detain Deepa long enough for Shinki to strike. While seemingly working, Shinki's black iron fist was completely ineffective against Deepa's super durable body, who swiftly defeated them. Shinki used the last of his strength to destroy the puppet rather than let Deepa have it, and he let them live. After returning to the village and reporting what happened, Cho-Cho and Inojin were convinced by Shikadai to help Boruto in his training to defeat Deepa's durable body. Shikadai decided that the key was focusing Boruto's Rasengan power on a key point. Despite their long hours of effort, they had little success. Ultimately, Cho-Cho decided to call it a day as she was getting hungry. Later, after Boruto and his team's victory over Deepa, Cho-Cho and her friends found Denki setting up an experiment to improve radio communications. Cho-Cho and the others decided to help him with the work. It ultimately worked, but failed to maintain stability. Denki, however, remained determined to improve the technology. Cho-Cho joined everyone in cheering. Ao Arc. In the anime, Cho-Cho attended the memorial service for the fallen people of the 4th Shinobi World War. Later, at the training hall, Cho-Cho watched Boruto fight the 7th Hokage alongside other genin. Kawaki Arc. In the anime, as Cho-Cho was picking taiyaki with Sarada for her and Choji to have, she met Kawaki, a mysterious boy connected to Kara that was under the care and watch of the 7th Hokage. While noting that Kawaki was handsome, she found his attitude very sour. To lighten the mood, Naruto offered to treat everyone personally to the snacks of their choosing, which Naruto quickly regretted as Cho-Cho ordered a massive amount. Over time, as Kawaki began to warm up to Boruto and his friends, Cho-Cho developed a crush on Kawaki. She continued to watch from afar as the Hokage began teaching him ninjutsu, swooning over how quickly he mastered the basics of chakra manipulation. Later, after the village was infiltrated and attacked by Jigen, using Kawaki's Kama as a portal to get in, the village was put on high alert. While the Ino Shikacho trio were training, they were approached by Kara's chief scientist, Amado. Finding him shady, the genin attempted to restrain him. Amado used his tech to easily repel Shikadai's technique and knocked him out with a drug. He strapped a bomb on Shikadai, which was set to go off in 48 hours. Sai and other Konoha nin then appeared after being alerted by Inojin. Amado asked to talk with Shikamaru, who was given communication via the mind-body transmission technique. Amato stated firmly that he wished to defect to Konoha, offering his full intel on Kara and its resources, their 10 tails, and even on the Otsutsuki. Deciding to hear him out, Naruto ordered the man be brought in for questioning. Following the defeat of Ishiki Otsutsuki, Boruto was put indefinitely off active duty to be monitored for his kama. Cho-Cho and her friends decided to talk about this as they were all concerned about Boruto's future. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.